Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, and it's already been a year, and welcome back. We are after 1 year. We're finally doing it. Okay, today we're kicking start today with Malaysia Blockchain Month. An entire what? So what is Malaysian Blockchain Month? Okay, let's check it out. Malaysia Blockchain Month is an entire month, 6 weeks of content, daily sessions every weekday, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We bring you new content, okay, and every single week it will be a different theme of content. The first week will be about Malaysia, right? How are things happening in Malaysia, and where we are right now, where we're going, how we're going to get there. Week number 2, we're going to cover DeFi. Week number 3, we're going to cover NFTs. Week number 4, we're going to cover enterprise blockchains. Week number 5, we're going to have a lot of developer bootcamps to build up the talent here. And finally, we're going to end with week number 6, a 2-day conference called Ignite. Now, that seems like a lot of content. Why are we doing this? So Malaysia Blockchain Month is brought to you by Access Blockchain Association Malaysia, and it is part of our mandate to continue to educate the space and grow the blockchain industry locally. How are we going to do that? We can only do that by, number one, doing these 3 things. Number one, DFOMO, okay, DFUD, okay, the space, educate more people to experience, adopt, use decentralized digital assets, non-custodial, custodial wallets. What is the difference? How do you navigate all this? And by growing the industry, okay, that is really, really fast growing. How fast are we talking about? Well, these digital assets, they live on the internet, right? And they live on these decentralized networks called blockchains. If you add them all up, last year, they were worth altogether 250 billion US dollars. That was last May. And then this number grew to $400 billion worth of digital assets in November. And then it grew to $600 billion in December. And then for the first time ever in the entire industry's history, it hit $1 trillion for the first time in January this year. That is an incredible milestone. Before that, it was just a dream that this industry would grow to $1 trillion. And that being said, 12 years. It took 12 years to get to this point. We are right now 8 months into this year, in August, and we are already at $2 trillion. In fact, I think I just realized that I'm a little bit arrogant here because I missed out. Okay, actually, it's $2.2 trillion. I missed out the 0.2 trillion, which is actually 250 billion, right? Which is like what we did the entire cryptocurrency industry of it last year. So this is how fast and how big, okay, digital assets is growing. The question is, how what about Malaysia, right? Okay, how are we going to grow the local industry? How much of it, okay, of this is going to be with us, okay, in terms of talent, in terms of jobs, in terms of income opportunities. And when we talk about adoption, okay, if we are at right now $2.2 trillion, can we get to $20 trillion? Can we get to $200 trillion? Will digital assets become the norm? Well, the short answer is that it does not happen overnight. It happens in a curve. And there are a lot of challenges, blockers, mistakes that happen a lot of ways. At the beginning, there will be like regulation, unclarity, then there will be over-regulation and finding that sweet spot in between. Am I right? So in the case of Malaysia, our journey started in somewhere around like 2019, January 2019, when the Securities Commission of Malaysia was given the mandate to regulate the cryptocurrency industry, starting from the place where people can buy and sell digital assets. And ever since, there were like a lot of companies. Okay, I can't remember the numbers. I think it started with no, I better not give numbers or plot numbers out of the air. But it was a lot of companies applied for it, and by the end of the year of 2019, three companies were awarded the provisional license, okay, to operate. And then the first one that got fully operational was Luno. And then the second and third one was Sinegy and Tokenize, which got their operational license in April 2020, the next year. What does that mean? That means that Malaysia now has three companies where Malaysians can go and legally buy, sell, and own, okay, digital assets like Bitcoin, Ether, etc., etc. So today we have with us, we have an entire week, okay, for the Malaysia team, right? Malaysia Blockchain Week set up for you. But for today, we are very happy to have with us three special guests, Aaron, Chiyu, Joby, okay, with us today. So, hi guys,
Hey,
Hi
welcome,
yes.
everyone.
Hey,
Hi,
Abram.
Jason.
welcome to the show. Let's see what's the best way. Yeah, all right. So, we, you know, without even expecting it, right? Okay, it's this entire journey started in 2019, and now we're in 2021. Let me begin with Aaron. Okay, now Aaron, I heard from a recent interview you did with Crypto Kopitiam that not only are you the country manager for Luno, that you were also the first employee of Luno. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Luno, Malaysia, lah.
Luno Malaysia, right.
Yeah.
So can you remind us again of the story of Luno in Malaysia and why Luno decided to set up shop here?
So Luno actually set up shop in Malaysia in 2016. That was really, really early, before even the regulations had come out, right? Now, back then, regulations, what are the rules around digital assets, crypto, is quite uncertain. Like, nobody knows what to do with it. But Luno was there, 2016. Our CEO actually, his name is Marcus. He actually spent a lot of time working in Asia. So he spent time working in Singapore, spent time working in Malaysia. And then he felt that Malaysia was such a ripe place for an innovation like Bitcoin crypto. So he decided to expand Luno's offering to Malaysia. It was one of the first countries which Luno went in, which was outside of the core markets of Singapore and South Africa. So Malaysia was one of the early ones. And then when he launched it, it just went boom, right? Malaysians love Bitcoin, Malaysians love crypto, and that was back in 2016. And thankfully, we're still here. And yeah, it's been a long journey.
Okay. Chiyu, from Tokenize. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Tokenize has Singaporean origins, right?
Yeah, Tokenize actually started in Singapore first, but shortly after 6 months, we are also enter Malaysia market. Yeah,
So why Malaysia?
I think the main reason is the whole strategy is that we want to be all part of Southeast Asia, but Malaysia we have a priority is because also I born in Malaysia, so I'm quite familiar with the Malaysian market. So I think that gives a bit of a advantage for us to come to Malaysia first compared to the rest of the other Southeast Asia countries. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Joby, your story, okay, is a little bit different with Synergy because of the three, okay, digital asset exchanges here right now. Synergy is a company that is fully grown from Malaysia, and if I'm not mistaken, that's Penang. Am I correct?
Oh yeah, Penang, Bangkok Lane, behind the mee goreng.
Right. So without, unlike, Luno, okay, Tokenize, which have like, a name, already an established brand name before this, right? You are coming here new into the space, right? I think you are probably the underdog here. So what is the story, okay, of how Synergy came about?
Well, yeah, I mean, we do acknowledge and take pride in that actually. That yeah, we started from quite humble points. I think we were actually a bunch of folks under Kelvin and Co. They actually started the company back in 2017, right? And of course, funding friends and family, not going out into the market and grabbing VCs. We built up, and I think since then we have always gone down the path of being pro-regulation. So from the beginning, when the guys got together and wanted to get this thing going, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. Ended up down the path of looking at exchanges being the way. and realizing that our regulators are going to be the best way that this gets adopted in the market. So from early on, and this was before I officially joined the team here. I was acting as a consultant externally initially, and the guys decided that we'll go down to BNM, knocked on their door, got on to the becoming a reporting entity with them, which I think helped us quite some way from day one, being very open to discussing with the regulators. And later on, of course, when the license came about, we went all nuts trying to pull together, got our submission in, and I eventually come to 019, we got the license. So yeah, all Penang group, all Malaysian group. Now the team slightly expanded. We have some more developers, but most of the team, since before day one, been here.
I remember that, before, there was all these regulation in place, there was really, very, very less clarity, and a lot of people don't see, right, what actually happens behind the scenes, and how much, all three of you, right, actually had to go through months and months of grueling process, in order to get to where you are today. So let's talk a lot about, now, that was in 2019. Now we're in 2021. How are we doing? Let's talk about adoption. How are we doing? Have we improved in terms of digital asset adoption in Malaysia? I'm opening the floor. Let's open up the floor right now. Anyone can answer this. Where do you think we are right now in terms of adoption? 0.5% of Malaysians have crypto, 1%?
Let me try to take a first stab at this.
Oh, go ahead, Aaron. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Joby. Yeah.
No, please go ahead.
I like to think the 1 million Malaysians is like the medium term target to aim for, and then 1 million crypto users in Malaysia is basically 3.1% of the population. Yeah. So are we there at that 1 million crypto users in Malaysia? Maybe, possibly. If you look just on the regulated digital asset exchanges, I don't think so. I don't think we are there in the regulated space, which means the 3 or 4 exchanges locally. But if you consider people doing DeFi, consider people using other overseas platforms, then maybe we have reached 1 million. So that's still 3% and below, but that's probably an optimistic take.
Okay.
Yeah, I think similar. I think quite optimistic. 3, if we are lucky. 5, not including. 5 is actually going very far, right? But that's just because I end up stumbling upon a lot more people I know owning crypto that I did not expect to have crypto lately. Anyway, right? You'd be having dinner and then somebody will be coming. Hey, by the way, you're working for this exchange. By the way, my son has this, or my uncle has this, and my brother has this, and these are people who are not normally people I expect to have. So maybe over the last year that has changed a bit. So I'd like to put it maybe 3-4%. Maybe I give a bit of hope to where we're at, just from the unknowns out there, right? I keep stumbling upon them, and there are more and more of them.
Okay, so what you're saying, is that the medium-term goal, is 3%. That is 1 million users. We think, that but that is actually still very early lah, in terms of it. That means, is it possible, that we would get to a point, which is like, when can we hit 10% then?
Actually, I would like to give a different perspective, because recently there's this report called State of Crypto that mainly target around Singapore. They are saying there is already 40% of the audience, already own a crypto, and normally the Southeast Asia percentage is quite similar. So I quite bullish that I always think that they, in terms of maybe not just adoption yet, just understanding. I won't be surprised if Malaysia already hit 40% of those means around 4 out of 10 people already understand about like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but maybe they just don't know how to start, and they haven't taken the first step, in accessing the cryptocurrency, right? But definitely, if we see from regular exchange user base, there's still quite a huge gap for us to reach the 40%. But I think it's another way, I'm quite optimistic that there are those upside that waiting for us to capture, right? And we will need another 6 to 12 months to really see that data sink into the reality, right? But I'm quite bullish that I think underlying audience is already there. It's just about how can we reach out to them, and convert them to be part of our user. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
bit my different thinking. Yep.
Okay, that's very interesting. So what you're saying, okay, is that in terms of audience numbers, awareness, that people are aware about crypto and digital assets, about Bitcoin, Ether, etc., is around like 40-50%. But okay, people actually touching it, people actually experiencing it is still a very low number. Okay. So and I'm very shocked, okay, that that actually 3% is like, to me, is like a very small number, for a medium term target, right? That means, okay, in order to hit 10%, does that mean it would take 5 to 10 years, Aaron?
No, I don't think so, right? Because if you look at the pace of how the industry grows, it's always like an exponential curve, right? It's not like a flat linear curve, or it's not even like a very slow adoption curve. So initial years, it's of course going to be a bit slow, but then you will start to see, like they call it the hockey stick, right? Like it starts to go up very sharply. And I think if you just look beyond Malaysia, by the way, I think Malaysia trends quite follow the global trends. If you look beyond Malaysia, somebody tweeted recently that if you compare the internet adoption to crypto adoption is faster than internet adoption, right? And internet, well, I guess I'm a bit older, but those of us who've grown up with the internet, we saw that for a while internet was really like very clunky, very lousy, dial up and stuff like that. And then suddenly within a few years, then things started really accelerating, and I really believe that we're going to see that in crypto as well.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
it's
go ahead.
okay. So I have a lot of questions I want to ask. Okay, especially when you said about you think that the users, okay, that are more exposed, okay, to DeFi, onto outside exchanges beyond the ones that's available in Malaysia, is definitely a larger number. How do we, get more users, okay, within that, grow that numbers? All these I want to ask. But before we go into that, I still want to recap something that probably did not get enough highlight before. Okay, and of where we are, how we got to where we are right now. And one of the achievements is that in Malaysia, Bitcoin is now recognized as a Sharia compliant digital asset. Can we spend about like 3 to 5 minutes to explain how did this happen? For me, all it happened, right, was last year in July. I read a article, okay, that says that Bitcoin is Sharia compliant. And then but can someone share, okay, how did we get to this point?
How, as in what did we do?
Yeah.
I think the majority of I mean, it is an achievement, right? That the SAC has come out and said that if you're trading on a digital asset exchange that is regulated in Malaysia, then it falls under to be compliant. I think a majority of the thanks needs to go to the SC and SAC for this, for actually acknowledging the need for this. Otherwise, there's a lot of we do have a lot of folks in Malaysia who would care about the Sharia compliance, and if this was not addressed, then obviously there'll be some hesitance or resistance from a majority of Malaysians potentially. So kudos to them for acknowledging that and taking the steps forward. They did, of course, get input from us along the way, here and there, but it is not like driven as much by us as the recognition from the SC and SAC that this was a requirement. SAC here being the Sharia Council. Yeah.
I see. Okay, well, thanks for the clarification. All right, so now let's go to a little bit on the more juicy stuff. Like, okay, so this is where we are right now. Okay, this is where this is the amount of market potential that we still have to go. How do we get there? So this year we started to see a lot more news, institutions buying into Bitcoin. most notably, okay, MicroStrategy in the US buying close to $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. And then in February, Tesla announced that they bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And that there was this huge conference, okay, that, had more than 4,000 public listed companies, all learning how to basically, put Bitcoin into balance sheet. My question for all of you here is, has this trend started in Malaysia? Can companies start buying Bitcoin from the local DAX?
Maybe I take these questions. Yeah. So for Tokenize, we are allowing corporate entity to register to be our user, right? So I think we can see. I think it's still very early stage, but we can see some interest, and there are quite a number of corporate entities that on board as clients, and they start to purchase digital asset like bitcoins. As form of company investment, right? We do see that, but it's just, I think we are still in very early stage. At least for Tokenize side, we just see a bit of beginning of the activities in that relations.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Is
echo
that the
that
same?
from Sinegy as well. Pretty much, exact what Chiu mentioned, right? We do have corporate accounts, and we do see the interest and participation. Eventually, it'll be up to them to declare whether we're not going to obviously say who and what, but obviously there is interest. But companies and institutions tend to move a little bit slower here. And you don't fault them, right? They do want to be cautious about how they proceed with these things, especially in this industry.
Okay. So what you're saying, okay, is that the interest here, okay, is still slow moving, it's still early stages, but can public listed companies, say for example, public listed companies, is there a I don't know, okay, are we set up, okay, if let's say for example Top Glove wanted to buy Bitcoin, can they do that with the local DAX?
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any sort of
Blocker.
regulation-wise or external factors, right? I think the challenge really remains within maybe even companies themselves. I'm going to share like some experiences speaking to people. These are highly influential people, by the way, right? They are on like boards of companies, and they might be huge crypto fans. They're investing on a personal basis, because for the company to invest in crypto, you have to basically convince the board first, right? And that's
Yes.
like, that appears to be the challenge, at least from my personal experience. So, I think it is a challenge, but hopefully we start to see some companies, some board of directors start to get to that level where they're like, okay, we're going to be the first in Malaysia to invest, add it to our balance sheet, and then publicly declare as well. Hopefully it's start of a trend.
Okay. All right. So
And
I
how do
think,
they
okay, for
declare it?
those, how do they declare it? So that's another thing, okay. What I was actually hoping, okay, to get from this question, okay, is that, but what I'm getting is that it's still very early, okay. If there has been, okay, some companies that have already done it, they probably have already declared it, right? Just wondering, are there any like blockers in terms of like accountants who do not know how to do it for the companies, and that's what is stopping, okay, from these companies from actually doing it? Okay, so but for those who are listening in right now, what I'm getting from all of you is that actually okay, you can set up an account, a corporate account that is now available in all three local exchanges, and they can approach you, okay, with an inquiry to buy any amount of Bitcoin. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sorry, just to clarify, we
Yeah.
are in the final stages of launching business accounts. So we are the slow one here. We've been very retail focused. So, but it is something that we plan to launch very soon as well.
Okay. All right. Good.
So
Good. Everybody knows.
from your takeaway, the answer is if they want to, they can, but please check with your accountant first before they stab you with a fork for doing something that they don't know how to manage, right? I mean, honestly.
Mm. Got it. I think that there needs to be some, education still, okay, on that front. If not, then this cannot move right proactively. All right, next, I want to talk a little bit about jobs, okay, in crypto. So the crypto market is booming. I want to ask, okay, in a crypto exchange, okay, like right now, how would you describe, okay, working for a crypto exchange? Do you guys have any, is there any like special talent that is required from just a normal company? Do you guys have, like, for example, I was just telling my sister the other day, right? Okay, that, during pandemic, okay, she's also, struggling as well. I told her, that there is some job opportunities in the crypto space. The moment she hears about crypto, she's like, oh, it's not for me already. Do you get that?
Well, maybe I'll share a small story, right? We have had a situation before where someone that interviewed for a job came in, and then he said he liked the job, but then he needed our help to write to his parents to explain to them that he wasn't coming on board a scam company and things like that, right? So yeah, but I think once you know, I would say that no, it is not fairly different from any other company, right? We do what we do. It's a job, but I think the moment you join this space, it also takes a particular mindset to be okay coming into this industry. It is, there is divided perspective on it, right? When you come in here, sometimes if you get a family reunion and your friends or your family members ask you what are you in, it's hard to explain. You are usually taking a small leap personally for most people that come into this space, and I think as time goes by, though, that seems to be more and less and less a thing. But yeah, it's just like any other company. We are not like running around a trading floor or imagining. We are providing a marketplace, right? We're not like a New York Stock Exchange on the floor running around or anything like that.
Joe, I think it's because the business is at Penang now. That make things more complicated, right?
Yeah, maybe. You have a good point there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of but it's happened, right? Convincing people, but it has gotten better over the years.
Okay, so when it comes to like, you know, uh, jobs, right? Okay, working for a crypto exchange, there is a second group of people. They don't necessarily work for the crypto exchange, but they are very important for crypto exchange. Am I correct? They are the market makers, right? Am I correct in saying this? Market makers. Would you agree that market makers, okay, is also a skill in that? And my second question is that, is there enough market makers in Malaysia?
It's a skill that I don't have. Like, that's a question you're asking. I'm not a good market maker.
I think Jason is on point because for Tokenize, currently we are still mainly undertake the market making capacity, but it's not intended, right? If they are more prepared market makers, they are keen to be to come on board. We are very welcome, and we really appreciate that also. So definitely we saw there's a gap in terms of this on our side, but I'm not sure for Luno and Sinegy, how's the challenge look like? Yep.
Yeah, if I can share, definitely, if you have enough market makers in the market, that's when you're going to see that your prices are very efficient, right? Like you're going to see the Malaysia Ringgit Bitcoin pair, and then you're going to see the USD Bitcoin pair, and then you're going to see, oh yeah, the price is following in tandem. And the fact that we don't really, I mean, there's always apparently like a 1 to 2% difference between so-called international prices versus local Malaysian prices. It means that there's still more space for market makers to come in and hopefully trade more and hopefully keep the price more efficient.
So I have two questions, okay, follow-up two questions. If market making, okay, is a valuable skill, okay, which means that it can be a job. So my first question is that, um, when done well, okay, how much income can a market maker make? Is it something that an individual can do? Is it something that it usually is a group of people that work together, like a team that does it?
I think
Is
you
it something?
can.
Mhm.
I think you can do it as an individual, and there are probably people who do it sort of. They have a main job and then they trade in the evening just to make some extra income, right?
Yes.
As to whether the majority of people will be good at market making and trading, I think that is a question mark, right? Because it does require some level of sophistication and understanding how markets work, and also technical knowledge. So I won't say that it is, anyone can do it, right? But those who do it, those that I've seen do it, it can be quite profitable. Like you can literally do it as your main income, and then basically quit your job and become a full-time crypto trader, market maker.
Okay. So for those listening in right now and they want to learn, okay, how to be a market maker, where can they get information? How can they get started? Or what is the minimum liquidity that usually, that they, to realistically set expectations, they can start with?
Yeah, I think for what I observe, right, is that most of the traders or retail user, they start with arbitrager first, right? So as arbitrager, because if you see Malaysia's, it's always very interesting. There's always either in the premium or in the discount, right? So in the premiums, if you're able to get your digital asset from somewhere cheaper and you sell in Malaysia DEX, right? Normally you can maybe profit 5 to 10% in a bull run, right? So that's quite lucrative, and we are talking just a day, right? And it can be any size, right? Of course, there is a constraint, right? And I mean, all the DEX also have a compliant constraint that you cannot deposit over a certain threshold in a day or in a week, right? So you can actually maximize your capital if you know how to arbitrage. It's literally just buy low at a place and sell high. That's how it started, and it require a minimum capital cost. But to evolve from here to become market makers will require a lot of reserve, right? You need ringgit reserve and you need a digital asset reserve in order to hedge in the other platform also, and to market make, right, in the respective DEX platform. So I think it requires quite a huge capital. It can easily start from 500,000 to even few million size, right? So I think that's the challenge, and I think the key things about market maker is you can't do this manually. You need access to API, right? You need to know how to do it technically, write algo, and this algo need to able to facilitate the price. When the market move, you have to able to automatically cancel all your pending
Right,
orders,
right, right.
right? So all this I think is challenging, right? I mean, at the early stage, a lot of people also indicate interest to be a market maker, but when we try to educate them how to do this, I think that's a very huge learning curve and resources constraint also that a lot of domestic player face. So I think it's still an open-ended question for us. We are still trying to solve this also, but it's still ongoing challenge. But keen to listen from Aaron and also Job, how they are going to maneuver this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, right? It's also important to know what it is not, instead of just like is it profitable? It can also be,
Mm,
if you're not, you need to know what you're getting into. Well, okay, well, I say I'm not someone who's familiar with this ability. Our team, we do have folks in there, and we do a bi-monthly session, that a webinar that we do. You can look for us on our social medias,
mm,
and if it's one of those places you can attend, right? We don't we give basics of trading and things like that, but more important is they explain, the team members who are more familiar sort of explain what trading is like, how AMMs can work, and things like that. And of course, the more important part is after the session, you're going to have a Q&A portion where maybe you can ask certain questions. Again, we're not teaching you how to be a market maker, but we're giving you an overview of what it is in that space. It's probably a good place to start. and then from there, that stub, you can go out and learn the various strategies and things that you can do in this place outside. Coming from our side. But that's pretty much it. What Chiyo says is important to know, right? Not for everybody, not necessarily for everybody as well. And don't get your data from YouTube shills.
Yes.
That's very, very important.
I think one of the important things that I've learned in crypto is that you want to give things a try, but you want to limit your risk by keeping the capital small. So, I mean, in terms of like something Chiyu mentioned, the simple arbitrage trading, right? Like buying low in one exchange and selling it high in the other exchange. You can read like 5 Medium articles, watch 5 YouTube videos, but the experience of you taking maybe 100 ringgit or 500 ringgit and trying it for yourself, that's going to be much, much more valuable than whatever masterclass on arbitrage trading or whatever. So I would recommend that, try to view it as a continuous learning process, give it a try by yourself, and then you just build on there. And I think, to be honest, all the sort of OG people I know in the space, they also learned it that way, right? The hard way of like, there's no master class to go in and okay, I'm the market maker expert already.
I'm just curious, because as the pandemic has hit a lot of people hard, and in a way, the silver lining is that we're all stuck at home, and the internet now the internet literally becomes 90% of where we spend our time, right? Okay, and could be where people look for to build wealth generation income and whatnot, sources of income. Is that if this is something, okay, which is directly, okay, essential and valuable for the exchanges, perhaps, okay, a program, okay, specifically to chart out, okay, that can actually come up from the local exchanges. That is basically just a thought on my top of my head now. But I also have one question that I am very curious to find out. Is there a Bitcoin shortage? Would there be a Bitcoin shortage eventually? I mean, like, after all, it's if every single centralized exchange that exists requires a supply of Bitcoin in order to function, wouldn't there eventually be not enough Bitcoin for every single centralized exchange in the world to function? Does anybody can help me answer that question?
I think that's all the exchange risk, right? then let me.
I guess the price indicates that there already isn't enough, maybe. But yeah, no, I can't think this to its finality. Yes, eventually, not only from the exchanges, isn't it? It's just the demand in general, be it exchanges, be it for whatever products that run on the cryptocurrency space, whether it's lending, borrowing, and other forms of DeFi that's coming out. Each of these are going to be a demand. So not just centralized exchanges, I think are going to sink the supply.
Okay, so now we only have 20 minutes left. Okay, so I want to leave like maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, for to open up the floor for public to ask questions, right, and then we can answer them. So the last bit, okay, that I want to cover is earlier you were mentioning, okay, that a lot of users actually are a little bit more sophisticated, right? So the number of people are, so the question is, right, how do we get more people, okay, to use the local exchanges? So my question, okay, is that futures, leverage, like margin trading, and P2P, okay, are very, very highly popular products that are offered, by exchanges outside. Just a simple question: will we ever see these products in local DAX? Is it in your roadmap? Anybody can take this up.
I think Jason, yeah, the short answer is yes, lah. But the challenging part is that how we can materialize it, right? We have to work very closely with regulators, and before we reaching there, I think our current goal is we want to launch something like offer more products. I think we see some comment in Facebook that they asking for more products, right? There's now so many DeFi protocol tokens, game fee, right? That we hope can bring that into Malaysia ecosystem. So I think those will be, or at least for Tokenize perspective, yeah, we want to work on that first. Then I think after that, there are a lot of interesting like automation trading strategies and a lot of other products in that vertical at the small market that leverage on the small market. We are still very eagerly to launch those first. Then we can go for derivatives market, right? Definitely, derivative market is going to be very interesting for the next few years or even decade, right? But it's just that I think in Malaysia's ecosystem, there are a lot of infra that we have to build first before we reach there. Yeah. But keen to hear from Aaron and Joe. Yeah, their perspective.
I'd agree. Like, there's a lot of steps that need to fall into place before derivatives come into the picture. Not only about whether the regulators are ready, whether the general population here is ready, right? Even with the current level that we are at, we still get into so many people making just YOLOing into this without thinking. Can you imagine if they have a chance to like 10x, 50x leverage into things like that? I think education needs to get there first. We're not saying that the people here are not educated in it, but I think more people tend to come into the space asking, when do I buy, when do I sell, rather than what is it? And I think that is one thing that needs to really, really get out there before we start thinking of derivatives. Maybe what's more appealing to the retail would be to see more asset pairs come into the market over time. That's going to be more appealing to our retail market and onboarding more and more users. Because when you talk about derivatives, futures, and leverage trading and things like that, I think these are more advanced users getting involved, and most of them already are in the space, right? To some degree. So yeah, the bigger impact is probably going to come from more assets being adopted.
Yeah, we're quite aligned there. I think in terms of spot market, so many comments coming in, right, that there are not enough digital asset pairs in Malaysia. That would be something that we want to look at first before moving into the, I guess I can call it the exotic stuff like derivatives and options and stuff. So yeah, hopefully we can get all more asset pairs and hopefully grow the regulated space more.
Okay, right. So what I'm getting, okay, is priority first up, priorities. Okay, futures, leverage, and etc. Okay, come later. Right now is like immediate priorities, get more trading pairs. Okay, and try to offer more products. Okay, that people can use, like for example, automated arbitrage. Is that what I heard?
I think automated trading strategies. Even the dollar cost average, or how to automate the dollar cost average is one of them, right? Then there are more of these kind of trading strategies can see how we can implement to empower the retail traders. Yep.
What about products which can offer yield, okay, to the people who have wallets in your exchanges? Basically savings. I think a lot of people have been asking for this, and there are a lot of reputable centralized exchanges that offer this as well. And there's also they take the yield from many sources, like DeFi, for example. There is a protocol called Anchor Protocol, which is very interesting. Okay, it's on the Terra ecosystem, offers a fixed 20% yield, right? And then it builds tools for wallets, okay, wallet builders to basically integrate directly with it so that they can offer this 20%, okay, or maybe, I don't know, usually you guys would take a cut, right? You guys maybe offer, I don't know, 10% fixed yield, right? And then, the thing, okay, is offering 20%. What do you think, okay, about this kind of products? Is it possible to have that in Malaysia?
I think the key challenge, right, like as a regulator regime, is always assess through risk, through risk area. And if you take a step back, we look at the recent hack, right, the Poly networks, which is the 600 millions, is something that we have to address if we really want to put this into the ecosystem, right? Then at a scenario where if there's a protocol bugs or smart contract vulnerabilities, who is going to undertake those losses, right? So I think this is something we really have to address if this is going to be the integrated backend, right? But I really hope also that this yield play can be in the Malaysia ecosystem roadmap, right? In one of one of the days. I think even without DeFi yield farming, right? Central exchange we at the of course at a good cycle, we definitely have the capacity to generate good revenue margin, right? And this can be contribute to the yield products, right? To distribute and to motivate the users in staking with DEX exchange like us. But I think this has to be done with a lot of it's all about risk management and also a lot of communication with regulators. And I believe that Luno is one of the early players also trying to push this. So yeah, maybe I will pass to Aaron to further expand on this. Yeah.
Thanks to you. So just to explain, so overseas we have a savings related product which can give you some yield on the crypto stored. Now that product is not launched in Malaysia, so Malaysian users unfortunately cannot use that in here. The reason for that is I think the regulations as they stand today do not easily allow for crypto yield kind of products, right? Now that is something that hopefully we maybe as an industry we can work together to continue to speak to regulators and hopefully get permission to launch such kind of products, because I think it is very natural and it is it makes a lot of sense to do it. But long story short is at the current moment, the regulations do not allow for it yet. Hopefully this is something we can change.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, okay, for answering all the questions that I have. Now let's answer some of the questions, okay, that the public has. So this is not a question, but Vincent Fong from FinTech News says, learning from yourself can happen, but very expensive. Okay. Hopefully that there will be more education programs, okay, where people can be guided. So Mr. Hazli asks, what is Luno SCR program in education?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that SCR is social corporate responsibility. Currently, we have quite a lot of channels to do that. We have YouTube channels, we have webinars, we have blog posts, we are active on social media. Something that we've wanted to do for a really long time is more offline related education, so like physical classes, etc. Maybe working with training providers, but we obviously haven't been able to do that for the past 2 years due to the MCO. But I assure you, once we are allowed to go out and start seeing people, there's something that we want to do as well. So both offline and online education coming.
Okay, another question is staking. Staking is basically saving, right? Would you categorize that the same thing? Is that the definition in local DEX, that staking and saving is the same thing?
No,
I think you can, sure.
I would say not necessarily, right? Say in the world of staking, obviously not on things that we can do now in Malaysia, but in the world of staking, you are participating in an ecosystem, providing the assistance of decentralization usually, and getting rewarded for your participation in that space. And in the world of savings, you're putting money in and the money's going out somewhere else, generating yield, and you're getting a part of it back. So it's slightly different. And I think it would have different implications when it comes to how regulators look at it. But at the same time, no, they are not the same thing. Is there a chance that we would? I think I saw a poll not long back about some of the coins out there, the projects that do staking, and there is severe demand actually in Malaysia for seeing some of them come into the space. So the answer is we are hopeful as well. Any chance? Yes, of course, there's a chance. Keep your eyes, keep your fingers crossed when the time comes. You just might see that.
Okay, there's a question, okay, about NFTs, right? So NFTs are non-fungible tokens, okay? Any chance that local DEX might play a part in creating an NFT marketplace?
Okay, maybe just to don't bore the audience, share some spotlight. So Tokenize is actually building an NFT marketplace in Singapore. So hopefully after some time we can showcase to the regulators and see how we can bring this into Malaysia. Yeah. So yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally, I'm very very interested in the on a personal level at least. I'm very interested in the world of NFTs, and I think even if we ourselves do not even if we do ourselves do not become like an NFT marketplace, I think hopefully we can at least support the growing NFT industry, whether that is I don't know, by partnering with NFT platforms, etc. Yeah, but it is very very interesting. I will admit that I'm still learning about it, and yeah, hoping to see what happens. And if you guys are interested, remember to stay for the NFT segments of Malaysia Blockchain Week.
Mm.
Yeah, that would be
Now,
very interesting.
now, maybe okay. What's that? This question. Can you maybe share the process? Okay, like so that people maybe understand now what you all go through. How difficult is it? Really to basically get a coin listed, a new trading pair listed. What is it that the Securities Commission actually look for?
I think maybe I start with thanking Luno first because so far all the new coin after the 3 approval coin, because just to give a background, right, when we started apply license, there is only 3 coins allowed, which is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Then Luno actually push for Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, right? So what Tokenize do is actually we just always send a proposal, say that, oh, now Litecoin is approved, so can we list this? So okay, Bitcoin Cash is approved, so can we list that? So that's our process lah. So yeah, and I think thanks for Luno for pushing more products. But I think Aaron maybe can share what is the procedure and how tough it is to getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to you. Very kind. So the SE actually asked for you can call it like a paper on why this coin needs to be listed in Malaysia. So there are some things that they will look at. For example, who is the team behind it? Is it decentralized enough? Is there any history of hacks or any weaknesses in the protocol? So just imagine like a very very thorough document to what do you call that, to convince the regulators why this is something that needs to be traded on a regulated platform in Malaysia. I also look at metrics like adoption rate, are Malaysians asking for it, etc. So once you submit that, then the SC will have some questions. Usually you have a couple of meetings back and forth to understand or clarify any issues. And then if everything is okay, then the coin will be given approval. So it is quite a intensive process as it stands at the moment. I take no pleasure in saying that, by the way, but hopefully as the industry matures, hopefully we'll be able to get it down to a shorter process. I can hope lah, and this is a personal hope. I hope that one day we can perhaps be like the other industries around the world, where the industry decides on the coins themselves, right? It's not that the SC needs to decide, but the SC gives the industry some more flexibility. Hopefully we get there one day.
All right, this is a very interesting question. I think this one is worded a little bit iffy, okay, but maybe we could use it as a good opportunity, okay, to maybe educate the public a little bit. So the question is, right, I noticed that some exchanges have their own token, right? Like Binance have BNB, FTX, etc. So maybe there's a 2-part question to this. One is that will Luno or Sinegy have Luno token, Sinegy token, right? And the second question is, why would they have their own token? Maybe Chiyu can explain this a little bit, because Tokenize has their own token.
Yes, that's right. I think it's definitely also one of our goals that will bring our token to Malaysia ecosystem. But I think the really great takeaway by being a licensed exchange in Malaysia is that we really learn a lot. The regulations, as a whole, with the Security Commission Malaysia. I think what the industry, what are the retail audience see is that Malaysia DEX is typically slow compared to the overseas exchanges. But I think it's just at this stage, right? At the same time, as operators, we learn a lot how to level up or game up, our play. So once that is, I think we still have some way to go to perfect all this domain, right? But I think we are not looking for 10 years or 5 years time for us to move to the next chapter. So once, like what Aaron shared, once the industry players has the capacity to allow to list our own coin, Tokenize definitely very keen to bring our exchange token to the Malaysia ecosystem, right? It's definitely one of our hope. And on the exchange token side, as we see for the past 3 years track record, it's normally performed very, very well, as good as compared to the protocol tokens, right? So yeah, really we hope that Malaysia audience can access our exchange token also. But at this juncture, the approved token is only that 5 coins lah. Yeah, correct.
Okay. I was showing the question there one more time. Okay. Maybe for education purpose. Okay. So usually an exchange would issue their token. Okay. Kind of like there's many reasons. Okay, and it's a very simple question, but actually has a very complex answer because it touches into token engineering, token economics, right? Why is it okay? The token will have value. Usually, it's used as a utility token. Okay, if you use the say for example, if I use the Tokenize or I use the BNB token, okay, in the exchange, I will get discounts on my trading fees, etc. There'll be benefits that come along with it. Okay, to extend the value. Will that be a Luno token, a Sinegy token? I think that one is up to speculation. Okay. But we have run out of time. I would like to thank, again, Aaron, Joby, and Chiu so much, for spending your 1 hour with us, to kickstart, Malaysia Blockchain Month with Malaysia Blockchain Week.
Jason, if possible, can I answer one of your questions? Because I think you have one very interesting questions about the will Bitcoin run out, right? As there's so many exchanges.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think just now I just laughed it off, but I think that's a very, very interesting questions where it's also explained why Bitcoin prices will keep climbing, right? There's a valuations play in that sense. So like 3-4 years ago, we can see the Bitcoin valuations we are looking at most 300 billion, right? But today, Bitcoin has exceeded 1 trillion market cap, right? So I think the short answer to this is that with more adoptions, right, the Bitcoin supply won't change, right? But the price will change, right? Like if we thought about 3 years ago, we maybe just need maybe 30,000 ringgit at most to own one Bitcoin, but today we might need 200,000 ringgit, right? And if more people coming and adopt Bitcoin, right, then Bitcoin won't be surprised Bitcoin will exceed 1 million ringgit or even 2 million ringgit, right? So yeah, just want to address Jason's question just now. In order to avoid to become a regret.
Yeah. All right. It's really, really hard. I know all of you are really, really busy. Okay, so again, I'd like to thank you all. Okay, we have run out of time. Thank you very much, Aaron, Joby, and Chiu for being here.
Thanks, Jason, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
All right, so we have ended day 1. Okay, don't go away because I'm going to share with you how you're going to claim your POAP. What's next? Be back here again tomorrow for the second day. Today we talked about digital asset adoption, the current state, and where we're going in Malaysia. Tomorrow we're going to talk about new digital assets, how Malaysians can issue their own digital asset. Okay, this is the next level, of digital asset adoption for Malaysia. Okay, so at the end of the session, do go to this, scan this QR code, right? Join this Discord group and talk to the POAP bot, all right? And key in the secret code Bunga Raya. Okay, this will take you to a page. They'll give you a unique link where you can claim your NFT token that is a POAP. What is a POAP? It is a proof of attendance token, which you can store in your Ethereum wallet. And it can be proof, that you have attended for this. This makes it easier in the future, number one, to increase your reputation, that you have something of proof to show that you have attended these kind of events, these kind of education. And you can receive airdrops because people can retroactively say that, hey, this person, is clearly very active in the cryptocurrency space, always learning, let's us reward, okay, all these people with who has this particular POAP token. This is possible thanks, okay, to part of blockchain technology. So go do this, okay, and you are already one step ahead, okay, in enjoying some of the benefits in this digital asset revolution. Also, we have an announcement to make. There will be a virtual drone tech and blockchain bootcamp on the 20th of September. Okay, this is on week number 5. Week number 5, okay, of the Malaysian Blockchain Month. But register now because the tickets, okay, for workshop 1 already sold out. Okay, so this is really, really hot. Okay, if you would like to come for this, okay, please register now by scanning the QR code here. So last but not least, okay, thank you very much. Tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m., MBM 2021 continues with IEOs. And that's it. See you tomorrow.